Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Carmelo Lattuca in the 1011 Now streaming studio. Let's take a look at the daily forecast. Unfortunately, we could also see another round of snow, but the good news is not as much as what we saw earlier this week. But we'll start off with the Lincoln Weather Almanac. Yesterday, saw a high temperature of 46 degrees, very close to average, but a little bit below average. Nowhere near the record high of 80 degrees. Could be talking about record highs, though, as we get into next week. Low temperature yesterday, 21 degrees, average 25, so very close to that as well. But we are running well below average for snow, 15 inches below average. Let's move on now to our weather headlines. Rain-snow mix possible today. We've already seen some rain early on this morning that will eventually change over to snow, I think within the next 30 to 60, maybe 90 minutes. And then warm weekend ahead, temperatures warming back up into the 50s and eventually into the 60s on Sunday. Near record highs on Monday. We are talking about temperatures well into the 70s. Moving on now to our winter weather alerts. We have winter weather advisories in western, central, and especially northeastern Nebraska. A little bit further to the north, we have a winter storm warning that covers areas off into the Panhandle, as well as out towards Shadron and as well towards Ainsworth, and as far east as Holt County, off towards O'Neill. Let's take a look at what some of those expire. Just bear with me and give me 1 second. So in northeastern Nebraska, that winter weather advisory expires at 3 p.m. this afternoon, so we'll continue for the next several hours or so. Out in central Nebraska, also continues until 3 p.m. We take a look at that winter storm warning off and to the north. That will continue until noon today, so the winter storm warning will end a little bit sooner than those winter weather advisories. That's because the snow is moving off further to the south and especially down to the east. And then if we check out to the Panhandle, just to be sure, that is also going to expire at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So expiring this afternoon, we could still see some decent amount of snow accumulation, and as we take a look at the total snowfall potential here in Lincoln, I'm not sure if we're going to get anything more than a trace, maybe up towards a quarter of an inch, but certainly not up to 2 inches. I think that would be on the very high end. Out towards central and northeastern Nebraska, we're talking about 2 to 4 inches, and then that dark blue color, 4 to 8 inches possible in northern and especially northwestern Nebraska. Snowfall potential in here in Lincoln, out of our models, we're looking at only one showing a tenth of an inch, so very low chance that we'll see any accumulating snow, most likely just a trace, but there could be some snowflakes flying around. Precipitation potential, seeing a little bit of drizzle, maybe a light shower out there this morning. Overall, though, that's expected to be under a tenth of an inch, so not a big soaker out there today. But low temperatures out there this morning, dropping down into the upper 20s off to the north, mid to upper 30s off to the south and to the southeast, above average for this time of year, 36 degrees here in Lincoln. Lincoln temperatures this morning ranged anywhere from 34 to 35 up to 36 degrees. Not a lot of variability there. As we take a look out of our sky view cams, cloudy conditions across the state, a little bit more sunshine out towards North Platte, a little bit more fog and some rainy conditions out towards Grand Island. Here in the capital city, temperatures are in the upper 30s right now, 37 at the studio, 39 at the airport. It does feel like 30 degrees. We're still talking wind chills into March. Winds are out of the northeast at 16 miles per hour, but good news is we don't have any wind gusts out there. Temperatures right now, not too far off from our low temperatures this morning. We are in the upper 30s, 37 to 38, maybe up to 39 degrees here in Lincoln. And across the state, warmest temperatures far southeastern Nebraska, 46 degrees out in Falls City. A little bit cooler where we're seeing those winter storm warnings, only in the upper 20s right now in Ainsworth, Valentine, and especially out towards O'Neill. For the wind speed and direction, you can see that low pressure system, the counterclockwise spin right now out towards Falls City and Kansas City, and the winds are out of the north and central Nebraska. Breezy, though, right now at 20 to 25 miles per hour, and gusts are ranging anywhere from 25 to 35 miles per hour, but those should die down as we go throughout the day as well. Feel like temperatures. Well, it's very chilly right now in northern Nebraska. It feels like 14 O'Neill, 11 degrees out in the Panhandle at Sidney, 30 degrees once again here in Lincoln, and 21 degrees out in Holdridge. And if we take a look at our satellite and radar, we're seeing that rain right now in Lincoln, but very close, just off to the west, especially towards Seward and York. You're seeing that change over to snow. As we slowly move throughout the day, that'll change over to snow too. Should happen once again, though, very quickly in Lincoln. Next 30 to 60 to 90 minutes. Snow right now is happening in northeastern Nebraska as well. As we take a look at the regional picture, that snow expands anywhere from Nebraska out towards Iowa and out towards the Great Lakes as well. Further off to the south, they're seeing a lot more sunshine. We will be getting in on that sunshine over the weekend. Not a lot to talk about weather-wise across the country. We have our next storm system off to the south and west towards Arizona. That will be drifting off to the east. That will not impact us as we get into this weekend. Do have some winter weather alerts across the country, wind advisories off to the north and east, red flag warnings off to the south and west, and winter storm warnings off into the Rocky Mountains. Once again, winter weather advisory is expired this afternoon in Nebraska, winter storm warning expiring at noon today. For Skycast, notice that snow should be ending as we get into the early to maybe the mid-afternoon hours, but by the time we get to around 4, 5, 6 p.m., just dealing with some cloudy conditions, but the cloud cover will begin to dissipate as we get into the late evening hours and especially into early tomorrow morning. That storm system off to the south, notice that it barely reaches into Kansas, should stay into Oklahoma for the most part, will not be impacting us. We'll see plenty of sunshine as we get into Saturday afternoon, not expecting any precipitation. Few passing clouds Saturday night. We should be quiet as we get into Sunday as well. Maybe just a slightly more cloud cover, but it should be a mostly sunny day once again, and not expecting any precipitation Sunday night. Once again, taking a look at Skycast, notice that snow should be ending maybe as early as 1 to 2 p.m., and then we should be quiet for the rest of the day. We'll see the clear skies once again as we get into the overnight hours, and then early tomorrow morning, plenty of sunshine out there. Should make for a very nice weekend with temperatures warming up back to be above average. And then late Saturday night, mostly clear conditions, a little bit of cloud cover early Sunday morning, and we should be quiet once again as we get into Sunday afternoon, and especially into Sunday evening. High temperatures this afternoon, below average once again. We should be in the 40s. We're only going to be in the upper 30s here in Lincoln, 47 in Falls City, and into the low 30s, maybe closer to freezing off to the north and to the west. Low temperatures tomorrow morning, teens and low 20s, 21 here in Lincoln. High temperatures tomorrow, cooler off to the north, warmer off to the south. We're talking highs ranging anywhere from the mid-40s up into the mid-50s. Then as we get into Sunday morning, dropping down into the 20s, Sunday afternoon, climbing up into the mid-50s to mid-60s, 67 in McCook and 67 in Imperial, 65 degrees once again here in Lincoln. Low temperatures on Monday, notice the warming trend going from the 20s into the low 30s, and then high temperatures on Monday, they're going to be quite nice. Talking about near record high temperatures, 75 degrees in Lincoln. Northern Nebraska over the next few days continues to be one of the cooler locations, but I don't think anybody's going to be complaining about those low to mid 60s. As we get into Tuesday morning, we're starting to warm up just a little bit more, closer to 40 degrees for low temperatures off to the southeast, 20s and 30s off to the north and west, and we'll usher in some cooler air as we get into Tuesday afternoon, still well above average for this time of year, 63 here in Lincoln, upper 40s to mid 50s off to the north. For your 7-day forecast, high temperatures right around 40 degrees this afternoon, 65 on Sunday, 75 on Monday, and then we'll hover into the low to mid, even the upper 60s as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Remember, we're going to lose an hour of sleep as we get into Saturday night into early Sunday morning. We're going to spring forward, ushering daylight savings time. As we take a look at the maximum temperature forecast across the area, across the region over the next 7 to 10 days, mid-70s once again here on Monday, cooler air on Tuesday, back into the 70s for some of us on Friday, and then we're going to cool off basically statewide as we get into Saturday and Sunday of the 15th and 16th of March, down into the 30s in O'Neill and Valentine, 40s and 50s elsewhere. Precipitation chances after today ranging anywhere from about 10 to 20%, maybe slightly higher chances as we get into next weekend, 20 to 40% chance once again of precipitation. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, March 14th to March 20th. Near normal temperatures expected in central and especially eastern Nebraska, so this will likely mean upper 40s to low 50s. A little bit cooler off to the west, especially the panhandle. Precipitation-wise, slightly above average precipitation expected for most of us. South central and southeastern Nebraska, near normal precipitation expected. And we have to take a look at the hazards for the 8 to 14-day outlook. They are quite interesting. No excessive heat expected. Precipitation remains off and to the east. Could see some drought off and to the south, but we could see some heavy snow potentially. Way too early to be talking about any accumulation numbers, but a slight to moderate risk of some heavy snow once again March 14th to March 20th in that time frame, especially into northern and north central Nebraska, not included here in Lincoln. But the high winds, that is going to be not only statewide and not only regionally wide, but nationally. We could be seeing those high winds anywhere from Colorado, New Mexico, anywhere from Arkansas into Tennessee, up towards the Great Lakes, and especially here in the state of Nebraska. So could be dealing with those windy conditions once again as we get into the 8 to 14-day outlook. And then we're not expecting any abnormal temperatures. So make sure to enjoy those temperatures as we get into this weekend. We're talking 50s and 60s. Once again, 70s as we get into the day on Monday. Still dealing with that rain-snow mix out there this afternoon. Not expecting much in terms of accumulation, but we should be quiet as we get into the next few days. Make sure to stay tuned to 10:11 News at noon. Brad Anderson will have the latest forecast details.